And the EPA has tried to reassure the public that any immediate danger has passed. However, residents continue to express worry, fear, and anger over the safety of their land, the air, and the water. Nearly 3,500 fish have died since this nightmare began. Consumer advocate Erin Brokovich joining us live tonight. Erin, a friend of the show, welcome back. It is good to see you.
Hi, Natasha. It's nice to see you.
And Erin, you and I were in person last week. News Nation, the first network to speak with you about this disaster, as you were getting those hundreds of messages from residents who were afraid, who were concerned. What are those residents telling you now?
They are more concerned and more frustrated now than they were in the beginning because there's such an inconsistent messaging coming to them, whether it be from Norfolk Railroad or their state EPA or their state representatives or the federal U.S. EPA. At this point, they don't know who to believe. And at this point, I don't think they're trusting anybody. They're so concerned. They feel like nobody's listening to them. We may know a lot, but there's more we don't know that will still continue to unfold. And these people in this community are almost a pawn in between some political agency corporate scenario, and they're just left there to fend for themselves at this point.
Erin, do you trust the EPA and the all clear that they gave?
No, I might be the wrong person to ask about that. I've been doing this for 30 years, so I've seen too many things that have slipped by or too many loopholes, but I don't know how anyone can trust them when, A, they're awful late to the game. There was just a real quiet moment on February 3rd when the train derailment happened to February 6th when they lit it on fire, which, by the way, they dug a hole and put all the chemicals into that hole and lit it on fire. So two things happened at that moment. A, we have a toxic cloud full of chemicals that has fallen out a great distance. We still don't know what that exact distance is. And you've now contaminated the groundwater. And there's so much that has to be done, Natasha, before we're going to get true answers. We still don't see the raw data. We need to begin remediation. We have to set up monitors for where this groundwater plume will or won't move. We need to talk about soil vapor intrusion. There's a lot that has to come into play. And here they are, almost 3 weeks now, just starting to get them some FEMA help. And we still really don't have a lot of answers.
Yeah. Did officials let the residents go back to their homes too soon?
You know, there was a letter that came out from the U.S. EPA to Norfolk Southern Railroad, that was stating it was known, yes, known, that vinyl chloride, other chemicals were released. But the sentence goes on to say, and those chemicals continue to be released into the air, into the soil, and into the water. That, I'm not sure why. Again, not seeing their raw data. What's your detection limit? What are you finding? What are you looking for? That gives you a real warm, fuzzy feeling that it's safe to return if it's ongoing.
And Erin, I want to watch the short clip with you quickly. This is News Nation's Rich McHugh showing what looks like a clear creek called Leslie Run, and we can actually start running this now. But watch him rake that stick through it. And you can see sort of these rainbows rise to the surface here. What do you see with your experience when you look at this video?
Well, there's a lot of things that could be going on there. One, we have to remember in this huge black cloud, there's going to be dioxin. So this soot, if you will, is going to fall out into the creeks, onto the rooftops, onto the cars, get in the attic dust, get in the household dust. It's going to be everywhere. Some of that could be that sediment that settled at the bottom. Some of it could be from the fallout of the VOCs. So without having a test, it appears that these things that have fallen out, a variety of chemicals, land on the water, and then can settle to the bottom. And so all of it's very concerning to these communities, and it should be. It's very concerning to the health and welfare of them and their children. They're very concerned for the future. They don't know what any of this means, and it's very concerning to the entire ecosystem. And listen, this could be something, a situation where Norfolk Southern Railroad made a bad situation 100 times worse that this community and the ecosystem could see the fallout of for decades.
And Rich also in his report speaking with a woman who is developing those rashes after showering. Now, Governor Mike DeWine and the EPA says the water is drinkable, the air is safe. Who should residents believe here? What should they be doing?
My first and foremost concern is these people. And in the absence of any other information, they are the very ones living there, breathing the air, exposed to the soils, and experiencing these symptoms. They have got to rely on their instincts. I have seen this over and over and over again play itself out through the United States. And it's the one thing that nobody wants to listen to. What is happening to the people? They need to be their own citizen scientist, if you will. Nobody knows their health and their family better than they do. If you feel unsafe, leave. You need to wipe down the houses. You need to take protections. If you're not feeling well, go to the doctor. If you're evacuated and you don't want to come back, don't. Really stay in tune to your instincts. You are the ones breathing it and living in this moment. You have to trust and stand with what it is you know you're experiencing.
And our News Nation investigative reporter Rich McHugh again on the ground this week, and he was reporting that Norfolk Southern may have been going door to door in that community after the burn, asking residents to sign a form before they would check their house for toxins. What would your advice be surrounding signing any kind of paperwork from Norfolk Southern right now?
I wouldn't do that. And I've seen this happen in way too many communities. They know what's coming, and shame on them to try and take advantage of this community, because you don't know what you're signing. You may be signing all your rights away, and I absolutely would not do that.
Yeah, and I should mention Norfolk Southern saying that it was a mistake, that it was a mistaken batch of forms that went out. They say that no one has actually signed away their legal rights. But, you know, something that really struck me when we were talking last week, you shared that through all of the work that you have done after these disasters at toxic carcinogenic sites like Hinckley, California, you have personally dealt with health effects and constant monitoring now. What do you want people to know about these kinds of chemical disasters and how real these health effects can be?
They are definitely very real. This isn't we're not overreacting. I can just tell you from the past 30 years in my career, we have a deep systemic problem here, especially with our environmental issues, how we treat our land and our air and our water. And we've got this idea that if we just continue to kick the can down the line and ignore what many of these issues are, which is antiquated and failing infrastructure, antiquated and outdated policies, and not address it, we're just going to get further and further into trouble. This is real. This is happening. I've never experienced in my 30 years a situation like this Ohio trail derailment. We are going to watch this unfold, this environmental disaster in real time. Live real time. And this isn't the first time it's happened. It has happened over and over again. And if we don't pivot and change our infrastructures, antiquated systems, and start protecting the environment, we're at a fork in the road. We're going to head the wrong way, and you can expect many more of these disasters.
And Erin, my very last question for you in just about 20 seconds. You are headed to East Palestine this week. What are you going to do to help the residents? What are you going to do on the ground?
So we're going to go out there and have a meeting, a town hall for them on Friday. We want to hear every question they have, and we're going to answer every question the best that we can. And if we can't, we're going to tell them we don't know, but we will find out. We will be there to answer any questions they have about health. We'll have doctors there, what their concerns are. They do want to know about their legal rights. We will give them all that information that they can utilize that will help them make the best decisions and choices for themselves, their family, and their health.
Do you have a message?
So we'll be out there next Friday.
Do you have a message for Norfolk Southern? Do you want them to show up to this town hall this time?
Just classic, but you can't trust anything they say, period.
All right. Erin Brokovich, thank you again for being here. It is always good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Nice to see you again.